face battles most never fought, pain, struggle, adversity. But here, we use that as fuel. This is the Battle Harder podcast, where we motivate, educate, and inspire warriors of life, veterans, survivors, leaders. We share stories and strategies to turn pain into progress. Here's your host, Coach Rob. Let's lock in and battle harder.
What is up, guys? It's your host, Coach Rob, here at the Battle Harder podcast, where I hope to motivate, educate, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves. Today's guest is another coach. So Coach Rob and Coach Brian will be talking today. He has a powerful story of struggling without parents, raising kids while building businesses, and everything in between that led him to be a coach and what he's doing right now. So I'd like to welcome to the show, Coach Brian. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I really appreciate having me and looking forward to our conversation.
So before we go into the deep dive in the conversation, just give my audience a little bit information of who you are and what you currently do.
All right, excellent. I am Coach Brian Parana. I am 42, married my high school sweetheart. We're 19 years in. We have 4 kids, 3 boys, 1 girl, 2 in high school, 2 in middle school. It's busy. That's capital BUSY, all caps, and maybe a couple explanations there. My wife and I are a team, and we work together and making sure that our marriage stays strong and our opportunities and connections to our kids do as well. Who am I otherwise? One other thing, we love to travel. My wife's a travel advisor. We've been to all 50 states. We actually just got back from a 2-week European vacation to some of the major cities over there. It was wonderful. And that's an opportunity that we chose to give our kids. I told my kids, don't expect an inheritance. We're spending the money on you as we're living right now. And then what I do right now, I'm a health coach. I have been in the health, nutrition, fitness industry for over 23 years. Started off with group exercise, got a exercise nutrition degree, personal trainer. I own 2 CrossFit gyms. I have taken a lady to a CrossFit Games. We went 3 years in a row.
Nice.
Participated with Sophia Renioso in 2 Olympics, Tokyo and Paris, coaching her with her nutrition and all. It was a pretty unique opportunities that are really blessed to be a part of. And I've been doing online remote health coaching for the last decade, which leads me to coaching men, guys in their 40s, 50s. Let's make middle life better than ever, and not just overwhelmed with more responsibilities and an ever expanding waistline. So I help
That's
them lose
awesome.
weight and empower themselves.
And before we go into that and the psychology behind all that, what does travel do for you as far as like your family, bringing them together, your mental health? Because here recently, my son, I have 3 kids as well, 2 adults. My daughter is 25 and she doesn't know this, but her boyfriend is about to propose to her this week they're in California at my aunt's house.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
my future son-in-law actually came and did the right thing and asked me for permission, and much respect,
great.
never would want anybody else besides him to be her husband. So I'm pretty psyched
That's
about that
awesome.
and scared at the same time because
Yeah.
that's a little bit of our immortality or mortality, as you will. But I tell my 13-year-old now that as far as gifts, buying him things for school or
Right.
birthdays, Christmas, that I want to give him experiences and I want to
Yeah.
take him places. And my big goal for him is by the time he turns 16 to take him to Japan for his 16th
That's awesome.
birthday. How does travel help you in your daily life?
Travel, one, it's an outlet, huge outlet to express, explore, to be active, to see other cultures and interact with people living pretty similar lives, even though they're on the other side of the world. One aspect I've taken from all the travels, all the places I've been, is everyone is looking to live a happy, healthy, joyful life. And that's a huge takeaway from me, and be able to give my kids that opportunity to see what the world is about. I hope that it gives them that culture, it gives them experience, it makes them not afraid of other people. even more importantly for our core family, it's creating what we would call core memories, right? That my daughter, she's 10, she's visited all 50 states, all these places she's been to already. This is just a really unique opportunity for her, but it connects us, it binds us, it creates stories, it creates laughter, it creates experiences. And we even got to see some of that in this last trip. We stayed at the Santa Fe in Disneyland Paris, home of Lightning McQueen, and the joy that it brought out. My son, who's 15, and he's a teenager now, right? He wants to play video games, he wants to drive cars. He's not quite hanging out with the ladies just yet, but that's probably going to come. And to see his face light up when he just gets around these Woody, we were walking around and he was wearing Woody Crocs, and we should have waited in line. We didn't. It was long, but you just see this youthfulness, this joy, this happiness, and we're able to create that with him. And I can take that with me as experiences and love and all.
So I might have to write that hotel down. I'm a huge Disney adult. We live in
Yeah,
Florida,
wonderful.
and my wife and I
Yeah,
have annual passes, and we've been going
that's
to
awesome.
Disney for years. I'm just a big kid.
Yeah.
So what's funny is the other day, my father-in-law, he messaged my wife, and he wanted to do a fitness competition with her. He's having some joint issues and some different
Mhm.
things, and he basically, found out that if he lost some weight, we know that maybe that would help. So
Oh
he
yeah.
messaged the wife, and he says, "Hey, we have X amount of time to get down to a certain body weight. If you win, I'm going to buy you guys a trip to Paris, as
Wow,
I have the miles to get you out there.
that's awesome.
If I win," he just wanted like a book or something like very like minimal. And so my wife is like locked in and dialed in and making sure that I'm like on her all day, every day,
Oh,
because
it's awesome.
uh, I owned a strength and conditioning for 4 years. Unfortunately, I
Right.
lost that due to COVID, but
Yeah.
certified
Oof.
personal trainer and fitness being for me, fitness, nutrition, overall
Mhm.
health. That's the first pillar of my coaching. Fitness is number
Totally.
one. Without that, I don't think we can have the other building blocks. So that's awesome
Agreed.
that you guys got to go to Paris and experience all that. I love that. So, essentially, you grew up kind of in a rough way, right? Without having parents. So, kind
Yeah.
of
Well, I
give
had
us.
parents. They were just divorced. So that
Mm,
is they were there. I felt supported. I felt loved, and all that. But they were disconnected, which then
mm,
brings me into a fractured ability or understanding of what true connection is, what love is, how to connect with people in that way, or how to have a lasting relationship, right? And so those are definitely challenges. I don't speak to my father. I can't ask him for things, but unfortunately, he's been married 3 times.
oh
He's
wow.
not someone to go seek out marriage advice. He's taught me what not to do, and all with my partner, with Amber.
So, as a man, as a father, as a husband, what did you have to do to make sure that you didn't fall in that trap? Because I know for me, with my father, we have a weird relationship. I do see him, but I see him at a very limited basis
Yeah.
because of how he acts and who he is. But
Mhm.
I know when I first had kids, my father never said I loved you. The only time I ever heard him say I love you is when I joined the military, and that was the first and only time. So,
Wow.
up until I'm 21, my
Yeah.
dad never said I love you. Now he did say like when I played sports, I'm proud of you or good job,
Right.
but love was never something that was relatable in his growing up. So I said,
Hmm.
okay, when I have kids, I'm going to say I love you. I'm going to tuck them
Right.
in. I'm going to read them stories. I'm going to do
Right.
everything my father hasn't, and I still do that to that day. So what did that look like for you?
One, finding my wife and I, Amber and I have talked a ton about this. I have to find out where it's okay. Is it okay with me to have that broken relationship or not? And if it's not, I need to do something about it. I can't just float through this decade of my life because he's not going to be here at some point, right? He's in his 70s now.
Right.
It's not gonna, uh, obviously. I tried reaching out. He's been to my house, not this house that I'm in. This is my barn, my workout barn, but the first house that I bought, I thought, oh, this is awesome. He can come over and help me do the house, right? Fixer upper and all that, and paint and just help guide me. And YouTube's taught me everything I've known. I'm a pretty
Me
handy
too.
person,
Me too.
but I've had to lean on YouTube to figure it out. Relationships, advice. He's barely seen my kids, and
Wow.
it's unfortunate, but it's just the truth. And I have no idea why there's a disconnect. I did go to Tony Robbins' UPW, Unleash the Power Within. I'm a firewalker, 2-time. And but now out of that experience, the one time I felt just empowered to call him because Tony does a pretty good job of getting you to dig deep and getting resourceful and all these great things that he does. I felt compelled to call him, and I called him on the way home. He answered. It was a very top level conversation. How's the weather? Just this, what you doing? Just
My dad
nothing of
too.
depth.
Yep.
And about 7 to 10 minutes in, he says, "Well, I've kind of been on here long enough. The TV's been on pause, and Susan wants to get back to her program." It was my stepmom at the time, and now okay,
Sounds just
see
like my
ya.
father.
I had that conversation, and then he went to my brother's wedding, and there was this very again just hi, how you doing, and that was about it. It was and he's even moved out of the state, and I just didn't know. Basically, my brother told me, and I just
Is
had
he
to accept it.
is he closer with is your brother younger and or older, and
Younger,
is he closer with him?
younger by 3 years. I don't know. Honestly, I've had to just separate in a sense because it just wasn't productive, right? We have choice around who we let into our lives. The people
Right.
around us impact us quite a bit and influence us. It was just not an influential relationship. So I just have not kept up on that. Whether that's here's one thing that I know Amber shares this with me is he's the father, I'm the son. It's his job to parent and look after me, and that's been embedded in my head for my kids. I
Mm,
heavily invest in my kids' time and energy and effort, and I drop whatever I'm doing to go take someone somewhere or do
me
something.
too.
And I read to my daughter every night, even if I'm tired and I'm falling asleep. I sit down and we read silly stories. Dr. Seuss, she's 10. We still love reading Dr. Seuss, Piggy and Elephant. We do all sorts of silly things at night to stay connected. And again, that might be something that he taught me through the lack of touch, through the lack of connection that way.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of on a similar path in that
Hmm.
aspect. My father lives 30 minutes away from me, and I
Yeah.
typically only see him, after my mom died. I moved him down here because so I have a younger brother who's 4 years younger, and he hates my
Okay.
father. He will not talk to him. He will not call him. He
Mm.
will not. And I know the situation and why, but when I ask him, like, look, our dad's not going to be here forever. Like, you
Right.
may regret this after he's gone. Nope, I'm not talking to him. But I kind of understand because, like, exactly like you said, when I call my father, I tested this, right? I'm like, I'm not going to call my dad for a month.
Yeah.
And internally, like it hurt me because even though my
Right.
father doesn't give me love, he's still my father, right?
Right.
So I didn't call him for a month. I'm like, I want to see if he even calls me or sees if I'm okay. And he didn't, like
Right.
nothing.
Right.
So I just had to decide, like, okay, well, I'll still check up on him from time to time. If he needs me to take him to a doctor's appointment, that's fine. Like,
Right.
if he needs something from me and it's not out of the realms of insane, I'll just do it for him
Yeah.
because,
Right.
I'm his son. And I think that's the right thing to do. And with my
Right.
brother not even talking to him, he does need some sort of
So,
relationship.
right. Some
But
support.
every time on the phone, like, hey, dad, how's it going? I'm good. What's been going on in your life? Not much.
Right.
And then, like, exactly like you said, 5 minutes later, hey, well, I'm gonna get off the phone. I gotta go bowling, or the TV's on, or something. And I'm
Right.
just like,
Right.
why can't we have a deep
A conversation.
conversation?
Right.
And I don't know if your father ever did this, but So what really frustrated me, you know, as a man, we need advice, right?
Right.
And while we have coaches and we have other people we can lean on and we can lean on our wives, we
Mhm.
want our dad's advice because
Right.
we assume that he's been through it and he's been knowledgeable.
Right.
Whenever I ask my father for advice, he just turns it into something about himself. Well, I'm going through this or I'm dealing with that.
Yeah.
And
Right.
so I'm like, man, I can't even go to my father for advice. Like, this
Right.
is horrible.
Right.
So I feel you on that. Guys, we're going to take a quick 1 minute commercial break. And we get back, we're going to talk more with Coach Brian. We're going to talk about
Excellent.
how he got into fitness and everything that's going on with that. And I look forward to continuing this conversation. So stay tuned. They told you to stay comfortable. You chose the battle. Battle Fitted is for the few who live by discipline in the gym, in the mirror, and in the mind. This isn't just fitness, it's transformation. From our coaching and mindset resources to apparel that speaks without saying a word, to keynotes that shake rooms awake, we train warriors, not followers. No fluff, no shortcuts, just real work, real change. If you're tired of talking about it, prove it. Lock in your first workout, grab your gear, book the mission at battlefittedbrand.com. All right, guys, we're back and we've already unpacked quite a bit with Brian. I really love this conversation where we're talking about being a good parent and a father and everything. So, with you being heavily in the fitness industry, how did you get into it, and what does fitness like mean to you in your life?
Right. Well, my buddy Dan, I actually see Dan. He is a very close friend. We were even texting today. So what, 30 years later? I
Wow.
usually, this summer's got him a little bit busy. I'm busy. We haven't crossed paths. So we usually work out roughly, I see him 2 to 3, possibly 4 times a month to work out and connect and all. And we'll get back to that. But Dan actually said, "Hey, come on out to track." He was running cross country. We actually played in band together. That's how I met my wife back when I was 11 as well. And we've just been great friends. He said, "Come out to track." I started running. Did cross country for the remainder. That was freshman year. So the remainder of high school, I ran Rocky montages, training montages, right? That always got me the juices flowing. I love training. I wanted to compete. I wanted to be an athlete. I ran, I trained, and that just developed into running for quite a number of years after high school. That transitioned. I ran marathons, I ran a 50-mile race, I ran Boston. I transitioned into triathlons. I competed race at triathlons, the Olympic distance. That was a lot of fun for a couple years. Then I transitioned into CrossFit by the time I started having kids because I couldn't go on a 3-hour bike ride anymore. And that was tons of fun doing that type of training and all. I really enjoyed that. It was about 2010 is when I actually opened up the CrossFit gym, and I wrapped up my gym coaching experiences about 2015. And then I transitioned into the online space. And at 42, I lift weights most days of the week. I'm averaging roughly 15 to 18 workouts most months. I usually work out with buddies, and Dan with Chris. He's another father. Or Andy. I run with Andy, and Dan has 4 kids. Chris has 4 kids. Andy has 3 kids. I have 4 kids. I have another buddy, Leo, who we connect from high school. Even he's got a lot of kids, but we've found that fitness is our backbone. That's the connection of what brings us together and keeps us together, so we can bond through exercise and stay connected in our relationships and actually have great relationships, friendships, deep conversations. If I needed something, I could literally call Dan right after he got off here, and Dan would probably drop whatever he could to make some things happen for me. That's what
That's
fitness means to me.
Yeah, that's awesome, and it's funny, man, the parallel. So I ran cross country and track in high school. I was the first freshman in my high school to be put on varsity because being
Oh,
good
that's
at cross
awesome.
country. I was ranked number 25 in the nation for the 800
That's what's
back in
up.
my day. And then I even took a year off of college and was still given a scholarship for running at the college. And unfortunately, because I was a dum dum, I didn't stay in school because I couldn't compete. They redshirted me, and I was like just angry, like, oh, I get to
Right.
compete. My head was so big, so I had to get
Yeah.
knocked down a peg. So, with you being in your 40s and me being 48, how important is having a community of men to rely on, to talk to train with, to be involved with, to be there? And are these men like, if you were depressed or having a bad day or there was an emergency situation, would you have any problem bringing that up to them?
Answering the last question, I would not have a problem. Dan, Leo, old friends. Chris, I've known him for a long time in just the business world and the local area. And then his daughter and my daughter went to school, and we kept going to the father-daughter dance. And then the one year said, hey, let's have some coffee and really catch up and not just say, hey, what's up, Chris? What's up, Brian? And well, actually, I've got a board over there and I have a little date for our broversary, which is May 8th of 2023 is our first workout together. We had coffee, said, hey, come work out. And then we've been doing that. His office is about half mile down the road. It's super convenient for him, for me. We connect, and he's a business owner. Andy is another one. He's a middle school parent that loves running. He actually has a nonprofit called Project Outrun, which gives shoes to kids with cancer to help motivate them and inspire them to
Oh,
outrun
wow.
cancer. It's just a phenomenal organization that he's doing, and I'm seeing what he's building, what he's doing, and all of them I can definitely call upon and share some just deep stuff if I needed, which is great because I don't have to put that on my wife.
Right.
Yes, I communicate with my wife. It's important to be open and emotionally connected
Definitely.
and all those things, but I don't need to vent to her. I don't need to do things where I can let it off in that other aspect of it. Now, so those are my say core four guys that I hang out, and I don't hang out with any other people. Why? Because I have too many people to take care of. I have my wife, my four kids. We have emotional support pets. We have four cats and a dog. They came in COVID times. And so my home base is the very first thing is family, clients, and I have my friends, and then everyone else ends up falling into acquaintances because there has to be this value exchange in
Right.
those
Right.
relationships. And I find I make time to spend with those guys because they bring value into my world. And that's important to have other men in your world. I find men in
Definitely.
their 40s, we get into this midlife crisis type thing of mounting responsibilities. I don't know if you feel it. I mean, you're 6 years older than I am, so you probably feel a little
Definitely.
bit more responsibilities. My kids are in the crazy growing years of school, and I still have a bunch of paperwork to fill out after we're done to get the kids enrolled in school, even though they're already
Wow.
enrolled. They have to fill
Yeah.
out the final forms and this thing and that thing and all this. And you have all these pressures and all this stuff. You have to perform at work. You got to, and then a lot of times people, and you probably see it, is men take their eye off of themselves. They don't create time to work out. They don't eat healthy. And when you're not taking care of yourself, you are susceptible to whatever comes in to it's like just with going with your brand is that's your armor. You're putting your armor on to withstand and have the endurance and abilities, even discipline, to put off all these external
Yeah, definitely.
inputs, these stressors, these advertising, marketing, and all these needs and wants and whatever coming your way. You have to be resilient and be able to understand what's important to you and what's not. That's what I'm finding men are really struggling with, especially as we are around our age. They've just lost touch with themselves.
Definitely. And guys, when you listen to this episode, rewind all that back and listen to it because essentially everything that Coach Brian just said is the same things I talk about
Yeah.
probably every day, 20 times a day, 3 millions a day, and you guys still don't want to listen to it. And what he said is very important. Here's a guy that's primarily in the fitness nutrition space, but everything he told you goes into the mental health, the personal development, the being disciplined. And
It's one
I
and the
did it.
same.
Yeah, interesting enough, I did a post a couple days ago. It was like a graphic post, and I had a picture of a guy in the gym, and he's wearing a battle fitted T-shirt. And then I have a guy on a bed who's kind of a little obese, and he's looking at his phone. And you see like the TikTok, the Instagram, like we're spending too much
Oh
time
yeah,
online and disconnected from people, and the connections matter. While I currently don't have a bro to work out with, and that kind of sucks, I do have my friends that I go get lunch with them, and we
right,
sit down for an hour and how are you doing? And
right,
these are connections I've made through the podcast, through going to the gym, through being in the military. And it it doesn't make you weak to want to have friends. It doesn't make you weak to want to have other dudes to relate to. It doesn't make you
right.
weak to want to have other dudes to hang out with. We need that. We need that tribe. You have to find, as Brian said, your core four, and the people that don't provide value for you or don't respect your time, you got to cut them off
Right.
and not worry about it. And I know it's hard, and that's part of everything I coach and teach, but I just love what you said right there.
Thank you.
So I have to ask, I'm not a CrossFit guy. I make a lot of fun of CrossFit. I'm a strength and conditioning guy. Why CrossFit?
When you're 21 and you have lots of energy, and then I graduated, and then I got into personal training. This was in 2005, six. By 2007, I'm training people. What's the best way to work out? And CrossFit was starting to gain in
Mm,
popularity and awareness and all. And when it's said and done, CrossFit is just a branded name for strength circuit training in a
right.
sense.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's all that it is. And yeah, they do it for time, and there's force production and constantly varied function movements on a high intensity. But when we take away is a group effort that you could work out with people to connect with over a workout where you sweat and you push yourself. That was some of the most enjoyable facets that I got out of CrossFit. I had other great relationships that we would do CrossFit workouts with. And yeah, when I'm in my 20s to early 30s, I want to rip and roar and go fast and have a 229 Fran and deadlift 400. I got up to 415 deadlift, a 325 back squat, which isn't that great, but my Fran was 229. I could do 150 double unders, and it gave me all these skills and all these attributes and these things to focus on and focus this testosterone driven guy, and use that as an outlet rather than what else is people doing when they're 25 to 30. They're not they're not doing that stuff. But so the reason CrossFit is that was perceived as the best way to train people. You're building their strength, you're building their conditioning, and as long as you do it in a safe, productive way, then they're going to progress. And
Mm,
literally, that's how I took a lady to the CrossFit Games at the age of 60. She
wow.
never worked out before 50 years old. I met her at 55, and all I did was progressive overload. Betsy, can you lift a little bit more than you did last week? And we got her up to 250-pound deadlift.
Man.
But, which is crazy, she could lift 100 pounds overhead, rope climb, pull ups, the handstand push ups, all these things. But those are fun, those are great benefits. But how it translated into her life is she could go get lost on a 3-hour hike, taking pictures of flowers, of animals, of wilderness, and not have a care in the world. Most 6-year-olds, they do a lap around the block, check off their exercise, and go back to their regularly scheduled programs. And so that was just a vehicle to help strengthen condition and challenge and create a fun atmosphere for people to want to work out. That was it when it's all said and
I,
done. I do
I,
some more CrossFit workouts now, but I do basic strength and conditioning more so these days.
I love that. And, I'm really big kind of on the same things. I remember, so when I own my gym, most of my members, I would say, were I had some like maybe 20-year-olds, but it was
Right.
mainly like 30 to 50-year-olds.
Exactly. Your
And
working
I had,
class, get off of
yeah.
work, go work out. Right.
And I had the common person that would come in and be like, well, I'm not going to barbell squat. And I'd be like, okay, well, why don't we do this? And I would just have them sit
Right.
on a bench and stand up. And I said,
Yep.
okay, do that 10 times. All
Right.
right. Now, like you said, now can you use a pair of dumbbells and do that? Now
Yeah.
can, and before you know it, people were,
You're like,
squatting
oh,
under the bar.
yeah,
They're lifting
exactly.
more weight than they thought, and they
Right.
have tears in their eyes like, I never thought I would be
They're
able to do
empowered.
this. And
Exactly.
I think, what people, fitness is hard, right? And you have
Yeah,
to
it's
find
tough.
first the one thing that you love, because whatever you
Totally.
love is more sustainable and you can do
Right.
that for a longer time. But the benefits outweigh the it being bad or horrible, because for me, as a veteran, I have all kinds of injuries up the wazoo, right? Bad knees, bad back, bad everything. And my wife thinks I'm crazy, but I tell her this all the time. I'm like, if I didn't go to the gym and do the compound lifts,
Right.
bench press, barbell squat, deadlifts, overhead press, and I didn't do any form of strength and conditioning, that I would succumb to my injuries and I wouldn't be able to be
Right.
mobile. Like, me working out is staving back the injuries and allowing me to go upstairs and allowing me to get in and out of
Right.
vehicles and all that stuff. So I think we have to look at the benefits, because obviously they outweigh all the
Right.
negatives when it comes to fitness. And I think a lot of times people just, they're scared because they don't understand, or they're
Right.
not educated. But we also live in a world where we're the most obese country in the nation or in the
Yes.
world, and people are just, unfortunately lazy. So
Right. Unfortunately.
yeah.
Confused, overwhelmed, busy. Fitness or taking care of themselves has not been taught as a priority on some level. And heck, when we look around, what is capitalism? They're seeking out opportunities to get your money in a sense, and it's not necessarily around wellness, right? What are the most marketed items that we have? Quick consumable foods,
Yep. Processed foods.
smoking, alcohol, all these things that take us away from our health goals. But they're you go to the gas station, you can buy 100,000 calories pretty cheap, and it's gonna lead you astray very fast in terms of health.
Yeah, definitely. And I had a lady on my show that she is an emotional eating coach, and she
Mhm.
had some problems what led her to become a coach. And I never even realized this. She was telling me that foods are chemically engineered so we eat
Oh yeah,
more. And so,
totally.
when you think of someone making a potato chip in a lab, you're like,
Yep.
man, do I really want to eat that?
Right.
But
What is this paste? It's not a potato.
but the one thing I do preach is everything in moderation. I
Of
think,
course.
based on nutrition and eating styles, you can have whatever you want. You just, I tell people this all the time when I'm coaching them, because essentially when they come into my program, like I said, fitness and nutrition is first. And I tell them, like, you ask them, how many times do you get fast food? Oh, 5 times a week. And you're like, holy
Ooh,
crap. Like,
that's a lot.
that's a lot. So, okay, why don't we just do 3 times a week? And then, then what do you order? Oh, I ordered 2 Big Macs, a large Coke, an apple pie, fries, a sundae. Okay, let's get 1 Big Mac, a small fry.
Right.
You literally, all you have to do is just scale back and be reasonable and go
Yes.
for a walk, and you could lose weight. It's crazy.
Yes. 100%. We are in very much agreement on a lot of things. That is for sure.
So just give us a brief breakdown as we're starting to wind down. One, where can people find you at? And two, like, what does it look like when someone wants to go into your program? Like, how does that
Yeah,
look
perfect.
or take?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for letting me share. I am focused on men to help empower themselves, initially with fat loss, and then all the confidence starts coming after them. I hang my hat at thecalltorise.com, and that's what I want men to answer that call and show up and be their best selves. So we start with a 100-day program to help lose weight, lose fat, ideally 20, 30 pounds in a time frame. And then we also want to focus on them being a better man themselves, a better husband, a better father, a better way to connect with other men and have an actual real support system. I have weekly challenges, quarterly reviews, and fun things to do there. Even a planned date night. So I have my guys from start to finish plan out a date and take their lady, their partner on an adventure, not just dinner and a movie or something. Let's go do something fun and connect,
nice.
because then they're enriching their world, them themselves, and then the connection with their loved one. and their spouse and all. There's all sorts of fun. I usually work with cohorts, or the brotherhood, I call it, 8 to 12 guys, to really lock it in and really support each other, because the tide rises all boats. I'm the tide, they're my boats, and we are going up and better than they've felt in years or even decades, because you've probably seen it too, right? As soon as someone gains that confidence and the way they look and feel, and they have the energy, they can go be 10 times more productive and start doing things that have been on their heart or in their head or in their body that they haven't done, or they kept saying I'll do it later, or now's I need 100 days, I need 90 days in a row to be perfect so I can go do the thing. Yeah, good luck. It's not going to happen, right? So that's where you can find me, what I've been doing, and how I really strengthen men in multiple facets of their life.
And I love that. And what people need to understand with fitness, like sometimes I just shake my head because it seems like a lot of this stuff that we talk about over and over again is just basic knowledge, common
Yeah.
sense.
Basics work.
And
Foundations work.
especially when I'm dealing with guys and cohorts and people I'm coaching, one thing I speak on is why fitness is so important, because it's simple knowledge that if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel
Right.
good, you're going to be more confident. And if you're more confident, you can go ask your boss for that raise. You can go
Right.
ask that girl out. You can go have that difficult conversation. And if you have a little bit muscle and you look good in a suit or a shirt, when you walk through that door, you
Oh,
have
man.
presence and power.
People look
So,
at you. What? Who's this guy?
yeah. So, when you go up against another person for a raise and they're sloppy and they show up to work late, like fitness literally is part of the cornerstone of branching out to this big, beautiful you.
Yes.
I mean, so before we close out the show, what is your definition of turning pain into progress?
Turning pain. Everyone's going to deal with pain. It's just a fact of life. The world is full of it. And I think you need to step back and look at the opportunities that are given to you, and understand that it's a choice of whether you continue to live in pain. Things are going to happen. A loved one passes away. An opportunity you thought was going to be really good ends up turning into a really big financial challenge or something. Friendships decrease because of whatever happens, or all these situations show up, right? But it's your choice to choose whether you continue and let it go this way, and you feel those negative feelings, those negative emotions, and you allow that to be your North Star in a sense. Or if we go the other way and you say, hey, my dad isn't a part of my life. That is a fact. He may or may not love me. I don't know. Maybe he loves me and he just is scared or doesn't understand how to communicate or connect, because maybe his relationship wasn't that good with his father. But I can take my experience and turn it into something better of connecting with my kids and parenting them and showing up and being there for them. Like, it's July 3rd. We're going to go out and do fireworks tonight. We're going to do fireworks tomorrow. We're going to do these connecting activities to strengthen our bond. And I would hope that when they're 25, 35, 45, and good Lord, hopefully I'm here when that happens, that I can see the fruits of my labor onto them, because we're planting seeds as fathers, and then we're watching it grow and trying to water it along the way. So there you go. It's a
That
choice.
that's awesome. And guys, Coach Ross, final thoughts. That's what I'm going to leave with. You choose, right? Nobody's stopping you from being great. No, your parents, your spouse, your coworkers, nobody. You have the choice. You can stay in the darkness. You can stay depressed. You can stay sad. You can stay broken. You can stay broke. You can stay sick, or you could choose to win and have the promotion you want and the life you want and the job you want and the dreams you want. And as we see here, Coach Brian has said a lot of things that parallels everything I say. He's living a very purposeful, loving life for him as a man and with his family. So, Coach Brian, I applaud you for everything you're doing. And
Thank you.
I really appreciate this conversation. Great conversation.
Yes, I
And
agree.
guys, as I always like to say before I end the show, remember to always be fit for battle. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
You've just heard another battle-tested conversation. Now it's time to take action. If this episode lit a fire in you, subscribe on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, or YouTube, so you never miss a moment that could change your life. Want to go deeper? Connect with Coach Rob at BattleFittedBrand.com for coaching, gear, and tools to help you turn your pain into progress. Remember, life will test you, but you're built to battle harder. Until next time, stay locked in, stay ready, and keep showing up.